Okay now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Tell me.
Sir, like the idealist and positivist are same?
No. Idealist shows represent that deviation. Positivist and idealist are different. Idealist are some sections which are emerged during that time, like I've told you Hegel. Right, we just talked about Hegel. So they are the idealist. They are not much important for sociologists.
Okay.
So that is actually a deviation from positivism.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
And sir, one more doubt. Sir, did Weber actually used Westerhand method or he did not?
He did not use himself. He proposed that method, but he did not demonstrated that method.
But in the PDF it's written like the Weber used it as a scientific method in sociology for the first time.
Yeah, Weber not used. He explained it in that way. We see for the study of sociology, he explained it like that. In sociology, nobody discussed this method. In that context only, it is written like that.
Okay, sir.
Is it audible now? Any problem?
So no problems.
Okay, see, what I was saying is, in case of Durkheim, if you see whatever method that he is talking about, whether it is indirect experiment or any method for that matter, he demonstrated the use of all those methods. But that's not the case with Weber. Weber did not demonstrate what is Westerhand. Westerhand, he is saying it is just comprehension only. And then what is the question? The criticism, mainly the criticism of this method, Westerhand, is Weber himself never used it. And this is nothing but comprehension which anybody can do. So what is sociological in that? That is actually the criticism. So we will, when we critically analyze, we will discuss these criticisms. The main criticism is, it is just, he is saying it is nothing but comprehension. So for that you don't want to be a sociologist. But what Weber says is, you need a trained investigator and then proper comprehension is required, and he's suggesting the different steps to ensure objectivity, and all these things you can support Weber also. See, these are two sides of the coin. When we need to criticize, we can criticize by saying or questioning the validity of the method. I hope you understood.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we will discuss about, I actually missed out this particular topic, dialectical materialism in Marx. That I will discuss first, and then we will discuss about ideal types. Okay? Okay, can you see this?
Yes, sir.
See, tell me what you already know about dialectical materialism. If this question is asked, what you will write in dialectical materialism?
Marx.
Okay, tell me.
Sir, there is a noise or sound, any type of jadoo type.
Why that sound is coming?
Hello?
Yeah.
The signal sound or heavy signal sound like that.
Okay, now I think it is okay.
Right now it is not coming.
Yeah, okay. Tell me, what all things you will write if the question is about dialectical materialism? Simply, this is the most possible short note that you can actually get from Marx. 10 marker, and you know this, you can score directly 8 mark just like that. It is very easy question, so you can directly score without much effort. You can score 8 mark. You have a lot of content. All the 3 theories that we have discussed is related to dialectical materialism only, but what you will write here? What you will write?
Explain about the Marx historical material, saying that am I audible?
No, be little louder. The problem is with the sound.
Better now?
Yeah, you can be little louder.
Yeah, so basically Marx explained in the historical materialism that it's not the idea that brings up the change or change in the, but it's the social condition which is the main reason for the transition from one mode of production, or basically the society change. And yeah, that's all. So it's like the material condition changes that brings up the idea changes, and then it leads to the change, transition from ancient to feudal, then feudal to
capitalism. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So that is a main concept, right? So we have discussed already about Hegel concept of idealism. We have discussed dialectical idealism. We have explained like this. Let's suppose this is a current society. There exists some contradictions. Every society there are contradictions. So to solve this contradiction, new ideas will come and resolve the contradiction and will shift to another system, another society. So, and here again the contradiction will come, some other contradiction will come, so new ideas will change to a different society, and this process will continue. It's like this, there will be a thesis, okay, and then there will be antithesis against this antithesis, and together the issue will be solved, and then there will be a synthesis. So this is what actually Hegel talking about, and this will act as the thesis, and then antithesis will develop, then synthesis, and this is how it is actually going on. So he's explained the concept of dialectical idealism to explain the concept of social change. So what Marx says is, ideas are part of what? Ideas are part of superstructure. See, the Marxian understanding is this, no? This is economic infrastructure, which include FOP, forces of production, and relation of production. And then you have a social superstructure. So here, education, family, religion, every culture, everything will come. So economic infrastructure shapes what? The superstructure. Right? So ideas will come where? Ideas will come in the social superstructure only. So what Marx says is, this is Marxian understanding. It is the economic infrastructure which shapes the superstructure, and ideas are part of economic superstructure only. So ultimately ideas are also connected and shaped by the economic infrastructure, which is nothing but the material condition, and that will help in the functioning of the system. For example, this online class and everything, it is a material condition, it is a demand of the situation, so some ideas developed, and that idea is actually helping in the functioning of the system itself. So that is what Marx says. So Marx modified Hegel concept of idealism to materialism, and Marx gave importance to material condition over ideas. So what Marx says is, ideas are developed because of the material condition. If this particular material condition is not there, if this capitalist system is not there, then nobody will interested in developing this kind of ideas or change. Okay. Now the criticism is, we have already talked about some other session that Parson is talking about equilibrium, right? Every society there are some social institutions, and this role of institution is basically they fulfill some needs. Okay, and every sociological topic you can basically understand in this block diagram type. So every social institution is there because it fulfills certain needs, and Parson is a functionalist, you know that. So what he will say, any social institution exists in society will be necessarily fulfilling certain functions. So social institution fulfill certain needs, whether it is marriage, family, religion, police, judicial system, whatever it is, and bring society in equilibrium. So if there is a problem with this equilibrium, there will be a feedback given. Okay, there will be a feedback if there is a break in equilibrium. So the social institutions will operate further. For example, more crimes are there. So police system, judicial system, etc. operate and fulfill the corresponding need and will bring back to equilibrium. So the solution here is change within. And this is what almost Durkheim is also talking about. The solution is within. Okay, so but when we talk about Marx is talking about solution is the change of mode of production, the entire system, the qualitative change, the total change is what Marx talking about. But he ignored the fact of this equilibrium in the society. Okay, so that is one of the criticism that you can raise there. So dialectical materialism, it's all about, and then other things that we have discussed. There is always antagonist cooperation. So you should be talking about the two groups are always in antagonist cooperation, and this antagonist cooperation you can see in all the different modes of production. So that is the first point. They at the same time cooperate. They cooperate for the existence, at the same time their interests are conflicting or contradictory. So this should be the first point in the dialectical materialism. So dialectical materialism means it is all about dialectics. Dialectics means it's all about contradictions. The contradictions present in the system will result in changes because of the change in material condition. Then second point that you need to write is law of negation of negation. Law of negation of negation. See, law of negation means you need to write in this way. It's like this. This is a change that I am talking about. For example, ancient mode of production, there was some problem. So this mode was negated and new mode of production came into existence, that is feudal mode of production. So what I can, your mic is on, somebody's mic is on. So feudal mode of production is actually the negation of ancient mode of production, and if there is a problem in feudal mode of production, that mode of production again will be negated, and we have seen capitalist mode of production. So here we can say feudal mode of production is the negation of ancient mode of production, and capitalist mode of production is the negation of negation. So why we are saying feudal mode of production is the negation? Because this came into existence to solve the contradictions of ancient mode of production. And again you can see the contradictions in feudal mode of production. That is why we say capitalist mode of production is the negation of negation. Okay, so that is the second law that we need to talk about. And then there is a third concept that we need to bring in when we discuss about dialectical materialism, that is quantitative changes and qualitative changes. So what is the quantitative change? See, quantitative changes will happen within the mode of production. Quantitative changes. This will happen within the mode of production, like improvement in tools and techniques. Okay, all these are the quantitative advancements which are happening within a particular mode of production. But there will be a qualitative change. What is that qualitative change? Can you tell me what is that qualitative change?
Changing modes of production.
Change of the entire mode of production. That is a qualitative change, and this will happen only when the mature condition exists, when the exploitation reaches at its peak. Okay, so quantitative changes are the gradual changes, like for example when we talk about this capitalist society itself, this mode of production, what is a quantitative change? The change in tools, techniques, etc. Earlier I used to teach with the whiteboard and the marker. Now I am teaching with the iPad and this pencil. Okay, so that's about quantitative change. There is a gradual advancements in the tools, techniques, that means in the force of production or in the material condition. Qualitative change means this capitalism to socialism. That will happen only when the mature condition exists, when the revolution is there. So these are the three key points that you need to write in your answer, and these three key points are actually identified by Friedrich Engels from Marxian writings. Okay, so that's what I'm explaining here. You can see here the first law of unity and conflict of opposite. That means you are cooperating but your interests are contradictory. Law of negation, law of transition from quantity to quality. Any doubts in any of this law? Now the statements we can discuss later, but the conceptually, is there any doubts here? If you have any doubt, we can still discuss this point. These three are very important. Negation of negation, no need to have any doubt. Quantity, quality, again there is no need to have any doubt. So quantitative change means change in the mode of production. Qualitative change means change of the mode of production. Negation means from the previous mode of production, new mode of production. Why it is negation? Because to overcome the problems or the contradictions of the previous mode of production, the new mode of production. So that is why feudal mode of production is the negation of ancient, and capitalist mode of production is the negation of negation. Because in feudal also there are problems and contradictions. Okay? Any more discussion required here? Okay, so we can proceed. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Marx used dialectics as the process of historical change in terms of different stages. According to him, dialectics proceeds in terms of material conditions. Okay. So in order to theorize the whole process of change, three laws of dialectics were framed by Friedrich Engels, drawing from Marxian writings. So these three laws are actually given by Friedrich Engels, drawing from Marxian writings. It is his interpretation, but we have already discussed all these concepts from Marxian theories, but here we are consolidating that. Okay, so law of unity and conflict of opposite. So the first one, there are internal sides. If you can remember this, you can quote exactly the same. There are internal sides, tendencies, forces of object only, forces of object or phenomena. That is actually a space. Forces of object or phenomena which are mutually exclusive. Here also spelling mistake. Mutually exclusive, but at the same time presuppose each other. Okay, so the statement you can remember. So what it is saying is this cooperation. They presuppose each other despite the fact that mutually exclusive. For example, rich and poor, right? Worker, capitalist. They are mutually exclusive, but at the same time they cooperate each other. So according to this statement, internal contradictions are present in society and are based on their conflictual nature. These internal sides are thus different or mutually exclusive, but at the same time one side causes the existence of the other. For example, rich and poor. Such contradictions are present in nature as well as society. So in nature, if you see day and night, contradictions in society or the social opposites are created by the structure of society, or more precisely the economic infrastructure. I'm sure that you will be in a position to understand these word meanings and everything now. At this stage we have completed Marx. Next is law of negation of negation. Negation means what? Negation is overcoming of the old through internal contradictions as a result of self-development and self-movement of objects and phenomena. So if you can write this sentence, you can write that. So, and examples you can give here: feudal mode of production was the negation of ancient, as it tend to resolve the contradictions of the ancient system. The capitalist society is the negation of negation, as there are still controversies and contradictions in the feudal society. Third is a law of transition from quantity to quality. The process of change is not simple or gradual, but it is a product of quantitative advances which result in abstract qualitative change. So there will be quantitative advancements. For example, in ancient mode of production, what are the quantitative advancements? Settled agriculture slowly coming, and that led to qualitative change into complete settled agriculture. And then in feudal system, if you see what is the quantitative advancements, the tools, techniques related to factory systems are emerging. That are the quantitative advancements, and that led to qualitative change in terms of capitalism. Okay, so when it will happen? At the particular moment when the mature conditions are present. So qualitative change relate to gradual change in forces and relations of production which occurs during a particular mode of production. These changes occur in material and non-material forces, but Marx give primacy to material factors, that is economic infrastructure. And this is a criticism Marx giving excessive importance to economic infrastructure. Qualitative change represents the change of mode of production which occurs through revolution when the mature conditions exist. So that's about this particular question. Any doubt we can discuss here, but there is no need to have any doubt. We have already completed this. So any issues with this? Are you okay?
No,
with
sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Okay, so I'll discuss about ideal types now. So now tell me what you know about ideal type. We have already discussed few things about ideal type, and I've given you examples of, actually when we talked about social action, it is nothing but examples of ideal type. So can you tell me what you mean by ideal type, or what you understood by ideal type? Because most of the students, what is happening is they write the answer for ideal type without actually understanding the concept. I can tell you most of the students, even after attending the classes, after writing 2-3 mains, they're writing still the test series with me, still they don't know what exactly is ideal type, and they just keep on writing something which is discussed in books without understanding anything. So if any comparison or any such question is asked, it will be very difficult for them. So what do you mean by ideal type, or what do you know about ideal type?
The regular occurring phenomena.
It is not regularly occurring phenomena, it is the regular aspects of any phenomena. For example, when we talk about religion, okay, so religion and what are seen regularly with respect to religion. That is what you mean by ideal types. It is a regularities. Yesterday I have talked about family. So when we talk about family, so what all things will come to your mind? What all things will come to your mind? It is economic security, right? Or emotional security, or sexual gratification, okay, or taking care of child, taking care of aged, all these. Okay, so these are the regularly seen functions or elements of family, whether it is nuclear family or any family. These are regularly seen elements. But see, these regularities is what you call as ideal types. These regularities are abstract, and single regularity, if you take one from this, if you take, which cannot explain the social institution that we are talking about. If I am talking about economic security, you cannot say it is family. It may be your employment is offering economic security. Or similarly, sexual gratification, it is not necessarily family. Taking care of child, it can be child care centers. Okay. Similarly, taking care of aged, there are old age homes, etc. It is not necessarily family. So the individual elements are meaningless, but when combined, it will give you the actual picture. So that is actually the concept of ideal type. Same as what we have discussed in case of social action. Any action, we cannot completely say it is coming out of a belief. It can be coming out of a belief. At the same time, it can be coming out of emotion, or it can be coming out of goal. Right? So combination of this will tell you what is the exact social action. So that is what Weber says. So these are ideal types. Ideal types are the regularities. So for example, when we talk about capitalism, can you tell me what are the regularities? Because in the next theory we will be talking about Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism. There he is demonstrating the use of ideal types. He is comparing the ideal types of capitalism and the Protestant ethic, and he is using a comparative analysis. So he is demonstrating the use of ideal type there, so you'll get a better example to write ideal types. Apart from that, social action in itself is a better example for you to write in ideal types. The 4 ideal types that he discussed: traditional action, affective action, Zweck rational action, word rational action. These are the ideal types. Okay, and apart from that, when we discuss about authority also, I'll give you some ideal type: traditional authority, charismatic authority, and rational legal authority. Earlier it was traditional authority, which was based on power, etc. Then based on charisma, next authority. Then it is based on rational legal authority, bureaucracy, etc. We will discuss about that. So he have extensively used the concept of ideal type. So you will get a lot of examples to write this particular question, and there's a very highly scoring question. If this question is asked, it's a must attempt question, you cannot leave it. And we have enough content, and the conceptual clarity is also the best. So there is no chance that you will miss anything from here. So it's all about understanding the concept. Even if you are not getting the PDF, or if you are not able to go for a recap or remember the words exactly which is used in the PDF, it is not a problem. You just need to know ideal types are the concept given by Weber to objectively study a phenomena, because objectivity is considered essential. So what do you mean by ideal types? Ideal types are the regularities. Okay, so you have to identify the regularly seen elements of any phenomena under study. And you can talk about the examples that you can do towards the end. But who will do this? See, while collecting ideal types also, there can be subjectivity. So what Weber will tell, only a trained investigator can do that. Okay, so you have to, there should be a trained investigator and collect it properly, and then interpret based on the ideal type, and then you can objectively represent any phenomena. And ideal types in itself, single ideal types if you take, that won't express any social reality, but combination of ideal type will explain the reality. So ideal type in itself is not going to give you anything, but the combination will explain the particular phenomena which is in question. Is that clear? Then we can talk about a lot of example, ideal types of capitalism, ideal type of this what we are discussing now, the social action, ideal type of authority. So can you tell me what is coming to your mind? Ideal type of capitalism, can you tell me what it will be? Let's see whether Weber also talking about the same or not.
Innovations, tools and techniques, new tools and techniques.
Okay.
Labor laws.
Okay. What's the most important
Exploitation of labors.
Industries.
Production of goods and services.
Production of goods and services, rational organization of production, money is everything, profit oriented, time is money, work is considered as sacred, profit, and all these are the main points that we need to discuss. And he compared it with the Protestant ethic also, and it is matching, and that is the reason why he's saying that individualism, Protestant ethic is the reason for capitalism. We will come to that. That is a very interesting theory, but here I hope you understood. So we are talking about ideal. See, when I'm talking about profit motive, it is not necessarily you can conclude that I'm talking about capitalism. Okay, or when I'm talking about time is precious or time is money, then you may not be able to conclude it as capitalism is what I'm talking about. But all these points that you have raised, okay, profit motive, rational organization of production, and then individualism, okay, and then time is money, investment. If you combine all these, you can understand I'm talking about capitalism. So this is what actually ideal type. Ideal type means regularities. Regularities, these are abstract, these are analytical tool, these are mental construct, and combination of this will help you to understand the actual phenomena. Any doubts before we move on to the PDF? It's a very simple question, don't make it very complex. People always do that, they don't write it properly. Even if you don't know anything, the beauty with this particular question is you have a lot of examples, and all the theories of Weber is actually based on ideal type. Simple theory that I've discussed yesterday, the social action, you can write from that. At least, you can write 75 words from that. And this question will be hardly 10 markers, so only 150 words is what you need to write. So at least you will be in a position to say Weber introduced this concept for objectively studying the social action or meanings attached by the actor or any social phenomena. These are the regularities which is seen in society, and a trained investigator is required to understand these regularities. These are analytical tools, these are mental construct. The single individual elements may be meaningless, but when compared you can get the actual understanding of the reality. And then you talk about for example, Weber identified ideal types of social action, or Weber identified ideal types of capitalism, or Weber identified ideal types of authority, and you can talk about example, and that's it. Simple. So it is fully with content only. Okay, so let me move to the PDF. Any doubt? After that we can discuss also later. So Weber used extensively the method of ideal types for the purpose of objective sociological research. The concept of ideal types had been earlier used, but Weber was the first person who employed it as a method for establishing plurality of causes. Okay, so yesterday I have told you about, tell me.
There is again an issue with the network, I think.
Okay, I'm not audible?
Yes, sir.
So your voice is
No.
breaking in between.
Signal is breaking, sir.
Okay, still the problem is there, or is it clear?
Now, okay.
But I don't know what is the problem. The permanent solution is I have to fix the internet. Here it is because of lockdown and I'm not able to do that. So, okay. So I'm talking about this. Weber used extensively the method of ideal types for the purpose of objective sociological research. The concept of ideal types had been earlier used, but Weber was the first person who employed it as a method for establishing plurality of causes. Ideal types are the abstractions which are employed in order to understand the complexities of social life. It pertained to identifying the elements of reality in terms of abstractions which when combined can help us understanding the reality. So when you combine it, you will get the understanding of the reality. Ideal type act as measuring rod for the investigator, and actual phenomena can be understood by comparing it with the ideal type. For example, you do any action, you can compare it with either traditional action or affective action or word rational action or Zweck rational action. So your action will be compared with any of this or the combination of any of this. So these are nothing but the ideal types. These are the regular actions. These are the regularities. So actual action can be compared it with these regularities. Okay? Now, according to Weber, ideal types are not realities in themselves, but these are the ways to express the reality. The individual elements may be meaningless, but when compared with other elements, gives the views of reality. Okay, is that sentence is clear? This one?
Yes, sir.
According to Weber,
Ideal types are not realities.
pardon?
According to Weber, ideal types are not reality.
Yeah, according to Weber, ideal types are not realities in themselves, but these are the ways to express the reality. For example, like when I've talked about family, those elements are not reality, but these are the ways to express the reality, which is a family. That's what written here. The individual elements may be meaningless, but when compared with all the elements, gives the view of that particular reality that we are talking about.
Okay, sir.
Sir, you meant to say till the time the profit is not achieved in capitalism, so we can't say that is reality, right?
No. I'm not saying that. I've never said that.
Then what exactly that means? Ideal types are not realities. Like individual, stuffs. Let's say suppose profit, or else let's say suppose product and service, whatever it is. Every individual prospects we can't take it as ideal types. When we will combine that all together, then we can tell that those are ideal types. This is what you are trying to say.
No. For example, when I talked about family, I have given you certain abstractions of family, certain realities of family, like economic security, emotional security, taking care of child, taking care of aged, etc. Right? But if I take these are the elements, these are the different abstractions. That's what you mean by individual elements. So this individual element, simply if I am talking about this one single individual element, that is economic security, can I express the reality here by just saying economic security? Can you conclude that I am talking about family?
No, sir.
You cannot.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it can be any any institution, it can be your employment, or it can be anything. But if I am talking about all these elements together, compared with other elements, all the elements, if I am taking economic security, emotional security, taking care of child, taking care of aged, sexual gratification, all these together, I can understand I am talking about family, or you can understand that I am talking about family. There is no institution or there is no reality which can be compared with all these regularities.
Sir, I have one more example for this.
Tell me.
Sir, if you wish to study about the state of democracy in India, then we will first take the concept of democracy with the characteristics.
Yes.
Like multi-party, universal franchise, formation of government. So these are ideal types. So when we consider it individually, it don't give the meaning of democracy. Is that the same thing you're trying to explain?
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay. So according to Weber, it is not a new method and commonly used by human beings to comprehend reality. So it is actually commonly used by people. Okay, that's what he's saying. Now, formulation of ideal types, who will form it? That's what. These are formed by the combination of indefinite number of elements, which though found in reality, but are rarely or never discovered in the specific forms. According to Weber, the task of interpretation of these elements must be done by a trained investigator who is competent in that sphere. So why he is always talking about this competent investigator? Because he is stressing on objectivity. If he is not stressing on objectivity, there is no problem. Whoever is going to comprehend, there is no problem. So for phenomenologist, it's okay. But for Weber, he is stressing on investigator. The investigator must be capable of seeing the reality through the eyes of the individual actor. Okay, thus the elements are to be identified not as external realities, but on the basis of individual's interpretation of the subject in question. So that means if you are studying any action done by me, you have to see that from my side. Okay, so we have discussed that yesterday when we discussed about Verstehen also. You have to come to the same wavelength, you have to go to the into the shoes of that particular person, and you have to think from that particular person's mindset. So here, if you need to know the meaning attached by the actor or me, you have to see from my eyes. Okay, so the elements are to be studied not as external reality. That means here what Durkheim says, you study it as external reality. Weber says internal reality. There are external realities, but these external realities are actually interpreted by the individual based on individual's own perception. Religion I interpret on the basis of my own perception of the external reality. Religion is an external reality, family is an external reality, but according to Weber, individuals interpret and act according to that. Individual's own perception about these external reality. The external realities will not influence the individual, rather these external realities are there in the minds of the individual, and individual will take action based on the perception of that external reality which is there in the mind of the individual. So ultimately he is giving importance to individual, but he is also not denying the fact that external realities are present. It is there, but ultimately the individual is taking the decision. It is just opposite to Durkheim. Durkheim says external reality is supreme, but Weber says external realities is there, but it is in the minds of the individual, and individual will take decision on the basis of his own perception or view of the external reality. Okay. For example, Durkheim says you are preparing for civil service exam because of family, but Weber says yes, family is there in your mind. So you know what to do for the family. So you will take a decision whether I need to become an IAS officer or I need to go for some other job. So it is up to you to decide. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Yeah. Thus, ideal types contain some specific traits identified by the investigator. So these are the specific traits that we have discussed, like the social action when you talk about traditional action, affective action, Zweck rational action, emotional, word rational action, etc. So this is a statement which is given by Weber. You can use the statement. The ideal typical concept will develop our skill in imputation in research. It is not a description of reality, but it aims to give means of expression to such description. You can just write in inverted comma if the question is asked on ideal type. Just put it in inverted comma and complete it. After writing all those things, you can just write the statement and that's enough. Maybe they can give you the statement and they can ask you to discuss or comment. Like that also they can frame this question. Now the types of ideal type, you have to also write about the type of ideal types. So what is ideal type? How the ideal types are formulated, we have discussed. Now types of ideal types. In Weber's writings, the method of ideal types has been extensively used. It is the most prominent method used by Weber to establish cause and effect relationship. Broadly, the different ideal types formulated by Weber can be classified into ideal types of historical particulars. So here you will give the example of Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism. That we will study. This theory we will discuss tomorrow. We will do this theory. So then there won't be any problem. Then second is ideal type of abstract element of social reality. So that's about social action that we have already done yesterday. So I'm not getting into the details of this. And then types of authority that we are anyway going to study in the coming session. So this is also there in your syllabus. Traditional authority, charismatic authority, rational legal authority, that we will discuss in the chapter of politics and society. Okay, there you can see bureaucracy, authority, all these topics are there. So we will cover it over there. So these are the types of authority. One more is there. Ideal types of construction of particular type of behavior. Weber, you can just one line over there. Weber constructed ideal types of economic, political, and religious behavior also. So these are the types of ideal type, and any of this example will be fine. You can either talk about this, or you can talk one from this and one from this. Like that also you can do. This Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism, we will discuss tomorrow. From that you will get better use of ideal type, because what he will do over there is he will construct the ideal type of Protestant ethic on one side, and he will construct the ideal types of capitalism on the other side. So there are few ideal types here, then some ideal types here, and he make a comparative analysis, and he will conclude that Protestant ethic having similar elements of capitalism. So it is actually Protestant ethic which led to the creation or the development of capitalism. So that is the conclusion that he is going to make. We will discuss that theory tomorrow. So don't you think this is exactly opposite of what Marx said? What Marx said related to capitalism and religion? Anyone can tell me? What Marx discussed about religion and capitalism? What is the connection?
Religion is opiating the masses.
Religion is opiating the masses. Okay, so instead you can...
Work is worship.
No, not that. I want the relation between capitalism and religion. It is a capitalism which created religion.
So religion help capitalism.
Yeah, Marx says capitalism actually created religion. This is the part of infrastructure and this is the part of superstructure. So capitalism created religion. Weber comes with an opposite idea. It is a Protestant ethic, that is a religion which is the reason for capitalism. So don't you think there will be a comparison question can be asked here?
Yes,
A
sir.
very much comparison question can be asked here, and that is always asked, a standard question, capitalism and religion, the connection between Marx and Weber. Okay, so it can be the theory of religion according to Marx and Weber, it can be the theory of capitalism according to Marx and Weber, the same. So Marx says this relation, capitalism created religion, because it is economic infrastructure create superstructure, and religion is part of superstructure. So economic infrastructure creating and religion help in the functioning. What Weber says, it is a Protestant ethic is the reason for the development of capitalism in Europe. And Weber observed that most of the Protestants are the capitalists, and he tried to establish the reason. And this is a very beautiful theory, very easy theory. We will see that tomorrow. Okay, so now tell me, do you have any doubts with respect to these two topics and any other topics that we have so far discussed?
Sir, can you repeat that what Weber said about capitalism, Protestant ethics?
Protestant is a community among Christianity. We will discuss that tomorrow in detail. The Protestant ethic. This is your theory, Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism. This is actually the theory, spirit of capitalism. So this theory we will see, Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism. So what Weber is saying is, it is the Protestant ethic that led to the establishment of capitalism. So it is the religion which actually helped in the establishment of capitalism according to Weber. Okay, this is what Weber is saying, and this is what we are going to discuss tomorrow. So what I am saying is, we have already discussed the Marxian understanding. Marx says it is capitalism which created religion, because religion is opiating the masses and creating the workforce and allowing or for making the people to go for work and getting exploited at the workplace. So the reverse relationship, this can be asked as a question in mains.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Anything else? Any doubts?
No, sir.
Sir,
Yes.
excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, will you please clear me one thing? You have told about types of ideal
Yes.
type.
Yes.
So when you take any reality in consideration, after that you make comparison with all those types.
You may.
After that you make comparison with all those types that you have discussed in later.
Yes. You will have to make comparison. Whatever ideal types you have taken, you have to make comparison.
Sir, with all.
Now, for example, when we talk about religion, I'm saying first what you will do. If you need to understand religion, you will have to collect the ideal types of religion. What all things are commonly seen in this particular religion. And this you will understand more when we discuss tomorrow about Protestant religion. We will talk about Protestant religion, their ideal types we will discuss. That means what all things are seen in their particular religion. And that is different to Catholic religion. And that is different to any other religion also. Similarly, capitalism, the elements of capitalism that you see, and that is different to socialism. You got it? So whatever elements, it is not necessarily all, it can be maybe 2, 3, etc. That is also enough to explain the reality. For example, if I am talking about family, maybe 2, 3 elements can also explain the family. But if I have more possibility, more ideal types, I will get a better clarity.
Okay, sir.
More ideal types are there means I can scale down or I can get better clarity about the one institution or one phenomena that you're talking about. So if I have more list of anything, it will actually be helping me to identify it accurately, more accurately. If I have only one that I've talked about economic security, I cannot say. Economic and emotional security, I can make a guess that both will be coming from family. And then I'm talking about economic, emotional and sexual gratification, then I can almost conclude it as family, almost. Then if I talk about economic security, emotional security, sexual gratification, taking care of child, taking care of aged, all these things, then I can understand it as family.
Okay, sir.
So these are different levels. So it all depends on the investigator and it all depends on the study. So you will
So
understand.
actually, I just want to confirm what you have discussed in last. Can you show the PDF, sir?
Which one? Ideal type of?
So these ideal types of historical particular and ideal types of abstract element of social reality, I just want to know about.
Okay. Ideal types of historical particulars means it is about this particular religion. So he understand how capitalism has actually emerged. So that is why it is from history. That is why this name.
So first of all, we take reality into consideration. After that, we make comparison. What type of reality is it? Either it is historical particular or it is the reality of what?
No. It is because of this. These are historical phenomena. That's why this name is given. It is otherwise in general you take any phenomena. So capitalism or religion, you take any phenomena under study. So you collect the ideal types. You collect the regularities. Since these are historical phenomena, that's why this name is given. He identified the ideal types of even historical phenomena also. That's what I want to tell here. Okay, even the historical.
So your voice is breaking in between.
Yeah, the voice is breaking.
I'm not able to listen.
See, what I'm saying is, even he took up the analysis of historical particulars or historical phenomena. That's why this name was given. These names are not given by Weber. We are interpreting. He is talking about historical phenomena. So he created ideal types of historical particulars. He is talking about these elements. So these are abstract elements. So we have made this division. Not Weber have made this division.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so since capitalism, Protestant ethics, all are related to historical phenomena, and he studied historical phenomena, so we just made Weber constructed ideal types or Weber constructed. Tell me.
Sir, it is like that we have made in DPSP.
Which one?
Hello?
Yeah, which one?
Sir, it is like in DPSP as we have done in politics, Lakshmi Khan DPSP,
What we have done?
liberalism and natural Gandhi and like that, sir.
Now, how can we make that kind of comparison here?
There is not into consideration, but we have made that kind of.
No, I am not able to get you.
There is some network problem.
Okay, we will discuss that. Then we will discuss that tomorrow. No problem.
Okay.
Yeah, any other doubts?
No, sir.
So dialectical materialism and ideal types we have done, and tomorrow we will talk about this theory, this Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism. Slightly long theory but very important.